Are you waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. and you're wondering why, or like what's the real reason this is happening? Well, according to Nikola Tesla, there is a deep reason, and it happened to Tesla as well. So if you are just waking up over and over, right? 3 a.m., 5 a.m., Tesla's a man who he literally lit the world. He believed that these hours weren't just part of the night like normal. They were actually a window or a portal. They were a time when the mind and the universe begin to actually sync up. So Tesla's greatest inventions, the kind that changed history, that made him super famous, they didn't come from like blueprints or whiteboards. They came while he was in bed and he was half asleep, half awake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So if you've been waking up during these hours, it might not be a sleep problem. It might be the exact same thing that happened to Nikola Tesla. And here's exactly what it means, what you need to do immediately if this is happening to you, according to Tesla himself. Now, like all super geniuses, right? They don't think like all of us, right? And he probably didn't sleep like us either. He claimed that he only slept 2 hours a night. But he spent long periods in deep rest where he's basically drifting between consciousness and dreaming. And that's where the magic actually happens. So Tesla described that many of his breakthrough inventions, they came fully formed to him right after he fell asleep or just when he woke up and he was in that state, and he called it downloads. He said that they came to him totally complete, like blueprints, dimensions, moving parts, everything that he needed, he said was handed to him as if by something other than himself. And one of his biographers, John O'Neill, wrote, and there's a direct quote, he said, he would see a complete structure, the size, dimensions, all parts operating in his mind. He needed no drawings. He would see it, mentally test it, run it for weeks, and then if it was operating as desired, he would construct it or build the required channels according to the original mental plan. And Tesla himself, he said, when I get an idea, I start building it in my imagination, I change the structure, I make improvements, and I operate the device entirely in my mind. Now, the crazy thing about all of this is that he said that these things were happening in those odd hours. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., just coming to him. So I'm going to explain exactly how you can use this simple technique and do it immediately if this keeps happening to you. But I just want to point out some of the science behind, the neuroscience behind what Tesla was saying about why this time really is where your brain is a receiver and it can get downloads that can change your life. Like it could be $1 million ideas that come to you, solutions to problems, and they just come into you. And you don't have to do that much. You just have to know exactly these simple steps. So if we look at neuroscience and brainwaves during sleep, we see that between 3 and 5 a.m. is the theta brainwave states. When you're in a very receptive brainwave state, the subconscious mind is fully open, the conscious mind is shut off, it hasn't re-engaged yet. And in Chinese medicine, this time is when your liver is actually most active, which is responsible not just for like detoxing the body, but you're releasing emotional and energetic blocks as well, which frees you up to being more receptive. So spiritually speaking, these are like sacred window hours to the universal mind, where the time and space veil between the higher dimension is like thinner. So when you're waking up during this time, it's not random. It's that your mind is tuning in just like Tesla's did so that you can see something bigger. And that something, the universal mind, your subconscious, is trying to communicate something very important to you. Now, the important thing to note, Tesla didn't think he was a genius. He thought he was a receiver. He said, quote, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration." So he believed that thoughts and inventions and all great ideas were already out there floating in the ether, the quantum field, or the universal mind. And all he had to do was tune his brain to the right frequency. And that's why he spent so much time in silence. And that's why 3 to 5 a.m. are so important, because it naturally is putting your brain into a theta state where your subconscious is essentially plugged in to the universal mind. Think of it like when you plug a cord into the outlet, you can turn the lights on. If the cord's not plugged in, the lights won't turn on. Well, between 3 and 5 a.m., the spiritual energetic outlet of your subconscious is plugged into the universal mind. And that's why this is so important. So what would Tesla do? When he woke up at these hours, he would just lean into that time window. He'd lie completely still. He'd stay mentally awake, but he'd allow his body to basically sleep. And this is when you're in a place where you're not thinking, but you're receiving. So your brain starts to work like a radio where you can tune into these higher frequencies, basically. And so this is when your subconscious mind can actually download all of these frequencies because the theta wave state is allowing you to do it. And Tesla said, when I get an idea, I start at once building it in my imagination, right? Well, how do you build it in your imagination other than when you are in a state outside of normal waking thought? That's exactly why 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is so important. So here is a step-by-step exactly what you need to do. Step number 1 is to stay still and listen. So don't grab your phone, don't double check the time, don't distract yourself. Just stay in that space, close your eyes, allow your body to lay there, and imagine your brain as a receiver of energy and information. So realize that right now, there's something your subconscious is trying to tell you. Number 2, ask a question. So like when you're laying there, set an intention. And you can say something like, show me what I need to know. Or you could say something like, I'm open and ready to receive the downloads that I need to know. I am ready and open to receive the downloads that I need to know. Tesla didn't chase these ideas. He invited them in. And 3 to 5 a.m. is like a welcome mat where your subconscious is inviting these things in. And then number 3 is to write it down. So you want to keep a journal by your bed. This is what Tesla would do. So when you wake up, like with a thought or a vision or a dream or a strange insight, just write it down, even if it doesn't make sense. When you start to do that, it's kind of like tuning the frequency. And maybe it's that night or maybe it's the next day, but eventually the channel through which you are downloading information becomes super clear with how you're writing. And then that's where you get the perfect ideas and inspiration. So I invite you to consider that you're not just being woken up randomly. You are actually being prompted. And it might be for a creative idea, like trying to break through. It might be a solution to your problem that your conscious mind can't figure out. Or it might be $1 million idea. It might be intuition. The universe is trying to nudge you in a certain direction. Tesla treated these things like sacred moments because they are sacred moments. And if you're waking up at the same time again and again, it might be that there is something else going on, that sleep isn't the issue, and there is actually a spiritual signal that your subconscious is trying to get you to receive. So I want to invite you to go through those steps and just ask yourself one question when it's happening. What might be the message that's trying to come through right now? What is the download that's trying to come through right now that I keep waking up at these hours? What is the message? What is the download? And when you ask that question and set that intention, you are going to be amazed that this is really not a sleep problem. Your subconscious is trying to give you some valuable information. And if you enjoyed this video, you can click right here to watch my Nikola Tesla 369 video. And if you enjoy it, I'd love to have you part of the community. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, bell notification, and check out my free success hypnosis. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's my free financial success hypnosis. I originally made it for myself for free. I was making like $1,500 a month when I started doing it. Within 2 years, I made over $1 million a year. All I did is just start listening to this every morning and every night for a couple minutes. It's free. You can get it at jakeshypnosis.com or click the link in the description and pin to the comments. And I'll see you on the next video.